What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. This is Force, and here today we will be checking out Necropolis, a third-person action roguelike being developed by Harebrained Schemes. I got a chance to play a pre-alpha build at PAX East, and here today I wanted to show you that gameplay and just chat with you a little bit about my experience. Starting off here, we have got character selection. Basically, these different characters will have different strengths and weaknesses, like some might have more health or more endurance, might be quicker, things along those lines. I believe at the event there was actually no difference but visual, but once the game releases, that will be the sort of thing you'll be choosing between, essentially. So what is this game? Well, at its core, I guess the simplest way to think about it, if you want to compare it to other games, it's got Dark Souls combat with roguelike elements, including permadeath and procedural generation. So every single playthrough that you have will be a different experience. And here's our first combat experience against a grind, one of the basic, I guess we'll consider them the grunt enemies. And here you're getting a perfect display of that Dark Souls style combat. We've got light attacks and heavy attacks, we've got blocking and dodging, basically all of the things that you expect from a third-person action game similar to the Dark Souls franchise. And then obviously this game also is going to take on sort of, it's got like dark and ominous tones, but also with splashes of humor and color, and that color coming in the form of these red crystals here, which will be like a permanent fixture in the labyrinth, as well as this nice little vista that we get to take a look at here. Look at that, beautiful. The Necropolis is constantly crumbling around you. For those of you who are interested or care about story, general premise is this. This Necropolis is a massive labyrinth that was created by this Archmage Abraxas character. He was like a supreme warrior or whatever, and then he decided to retreat to this Necropolis. It's a magical place, and he developed this AI by the name of the Brazen Head, and it's basically the game's narrator. As you play, it will mock you, as well as give you information about the surrounding environment, and you'll see that dialogue as we go throughout. Like right here, for example, 536 adventurers have come this way, and that was actually sort of like a live feed. That was the number of people who had played this demo prior to me. Or so I was told. I don't know, that could be a complete fallacy, but yeah, that's what they said. Also, breaking barrels, because what sort of action or RPG style game would it be without breaking of barrels? There's also splashes of lore and stuff in the environment. I didn't take much time to stop at those, like that shrine back there, for example, because I was chatting with the developer while I was playing this and getting that capture footage here. Here's a little more difficult enemy compared to the grinds. These are the Horde Men. They've got very powerful attacks. You notice that I think it was like a triple or quadruple attack that he was casting there. I avoided it because if I hadn't, it's basically going to kill you. So I found myself a weapon here, and this is where you can go into weapon swapping, and I'm actually going to show off a couple of the different attacks here. Now, there's a whole bunch of different things you can do. Again, it's light attack, heavy attack. There's the dodging, the blocking, the parrying. There's also jump attacks, which we're going to do right here, which is pretty cool, and depending on the weapon that you're using, the jump attack will be different. And then also, lastly, there is, so light attack, heavy attack, jump attack. There's also charge attacks, which I believe I'm going to do one of those at this moment. Here we go. So here's the charge attack. Look at this little forward little spinaroo thingy. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And then I switch up weapon, and this is the charge attack for my other weapon, the hooked blade. So yeah, similar to Dark Souls, depending on what weapons that you're using, it's going to change your attack animations. And this game also has that animation priority system, which means that you're basically committing to the things that you do. So if you decide to do a heavy attack, you're doing that heavy attack. You've got to see that animation through. Same thing applies for enemies. When they're coming at you with this big windy attack or a charge up attack, as you play the game more and more, you'll get to know those systems, and you'll know to avoid and how to avoid it, like what direction they'll be moving in and all that sort of stuff. That basic learning process that you get with a Dark Souls style game. Now, these guys right here, these are the Gem Eaters. And I came up to this thing and I was like, all right, let me just kill him. He's like a giant shark looking dude. I can just fight him, right? But the developer said, no, let him live, because I want to show you something. One of the other sort of interesting aspects of this game is there's there's an ecosystem, there's a prey and predator relationship, and there's also the fact that these different enemies consume different things. So I hit that elevator, which actually was kind of cool. You notice it lowered me a level and shifted over the walkway to go into this new area. And there's going to be a lot of sort of elevation changes depending on what procedural generation that you get. But back to sort of the living ecology of this necropolis. So the gem eaters, they like to eat the gems, you know, great. But they are also mortal enemies of these guys coming out of the crystals right here. So these crystal warriors and the gem eaters are not friends. And this is the entire reason I kept that guy alive, because he said, I just want to show you sort of this interaction. Now, again, the game is going to feature procedural generation for the level layouts. With that said, the demo that I played was pre-set up, and that's why he was able to tell me, you know, let's have this scenario play out, just so I can show you what it's all about. So it's the sort of thing that you can consider if you're in a tight spot and you're fighting one of those gem eaters, but you notice nearby there's a location that might have some of these grind shadow warrior dudes. You can get them to fight each other and do what I'm doing here. Just pick off the stragglers, essentially. Acting like a predator on the savannah or whatever. You're out there, you're picking off the stragglers, the weak ones that are left behind. That's the general premise. That was the stupid analogy, the stupidest analogy that I've ever made. I thought it was kind of interesting that they have these relationships they're all enemies to you, but even within those enemies, they have enemies themselves that they prioritize over you. So that can be used to sort of a tactical advantage. And again, it's interesting because, remember, it's a roguelike, so there's permadeath, and every time you do a new run, it's going to be a different layout and a different experience, if you will. So having this wealth of knowledge and knowing all these enemy interactions, it wouldn't be as big a deal if this was all set in place, and unless you were doing multiple runs, you know what I mean? Like if you completed the game and then did it again, then you can know, oh, this part's got these enemy interactions. But knowing these enemy interactions will be very important, given that you're going to be seeing a fresh layout on every playthrough that you do after every death. So pretty cool thing to consider. Now right here, I actually have to kill all of these crystal warriors, these grind characters, before I can progress any further, as the red crystals actually blocking my access to the elevator. So there we go, finished up the last one, and now I've got access to this elevator here, and we're gonna get some more chat here with the brazen head. He's like, oh gosh, the keep is held by the Lord of Knives. Past it more wanders, and an exit. Restore this place to a jewel, and you shall be rewarded. So this is the Lord of Knives, and this is actually the final boss of this little demo of the game. And this was kind of funny. Just a reminder that this game, this footage was a demo of a pre-alpha build. So sometimes you get some enemies doing some stupid things like running in circles. Yeah, no, it'll happen, it'll happen. I didn't get to take a look at it in the demo, but evidently the game is going to have, I don't know if it's actually a crafting system, but you'll be able to create magical potions, runes, and spells for your hero. So I didn't get to actually take a look at any of the spells. We did get to take a look at some of the potions. Like I've got my health potions. You've seen me throw a couple of those bombs, those little AoE bombs. And then actually up here in a couple of moments, I'll be using an Invisibility Potion. So we got a bunch of Hordemen here. These guys are incredibly annoying. I'm not fans. They actually started to wreck my face. They've got those, so there's a bomb right there. Again, an example of me tossing that thing out. But these guys will just charge at you, and then they'll do that little attack. And there's a little moment of reprieve, but I chose a bad moment to try to drink my health potion, because as you saw, he was able to get a couple of smacks off me, basically rendering that health potion almost about worthless. But as you can see here, we do finish him off, and then just as that happens, these jerks show up and smack me in the back, and then I'm like, okay, well, I've got one health potion left, I've got a Hordeman chasing me, I've got two more right behind him. What to do, what to do. It's not looking good. It's not looking good at all. I just want to say, I want to take a moment. I've gone through sort of explaining the game to you, but I just want to say, I got some good first impressions. Now, I know there's some sort of janky looking animations. I think specifically the bomb throw and explosion looks a little silly, but we're gonna remind ourselves that it's a pre-alpha build, so things like, and I don't know if this invisibility animation is supposed to have the sword floating like that, although maybe it should, because then how would you know where you're walking? They gotta have some sort of display. But anyways, the point is, the polish aside, and the fact that we're gonna see improvements and possibly even more features as time goes on, I was overall pretty impressed. I thought the combat felt very good. It was very responsive. It's pretty much what I expected. I essentially just pretended I was playing Dark Souls with a different skin, essentially. And here's the final boss of this area, the Lord of Knives. I actually made quick work of him because I took advantage of the fact that you have invincibility frames when you're using your charge up attack. So that bad boy right there, I've got invincibility frames on it, so it's kind of was unfair. But anyways, point is, I had fun playing this. Even though I only got to sit down and play it for about 10 minutes, I had a good time with it, and I am definitely looking forward to checking this game out once it releases. I'm not sure. I asked the dev if they were considering early access, and I didn't really get a clear answer, so it might not be a thing. We might have to wait till this game actually comes out to play it. I know, nowadays, that's a crazy thought, but if it means we get to play a complete and polished game, I'm kind of okay with it. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me and taking a look at Necropolis. Hope you enjoyed the gameplay. I also hope you have a fantastic afternoon. I will see you guys later. Take it easy.